Hey, welcome back to another Design and Draft TV video. My name is Michael Marcano, and today's video we are going to go over creating a custom ribbon. Now, it's a lot easier than most people think, and it's a great way to put all of your tools and resources in one place. A lot of us download list routines offline. We create our own list routines. We have our favorite commands or our most frequently used commands. We have company resources that we may kind of want to have quick access through the CAD screen. And creating your own tab in your ribbon is a great way to kind of keep that in one nice central location. After you create a ribbon, if you are a CAD manager, for example, and you want to go ahead and share it with your company, well, what you can do is you can enterprise your user interface and your profile and share it with the company. If that is something that you're interested in, just comment and I will make another video showing you what is the best way to enterprise or to set up your enterprise for your company so that everybody has access to the same resources. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So in order to kind of update your user interface, one thing that we want to do is we want to make a copy of a workstation. So this little gear that you see here at the top of the screen that says draft and annotation, that is a workspace. So here, if we look, we have Civil 3D, drafting and annotation, 3D modeling, planning and analysis. And what we can do is we can hit this customize button, or you can just type in CUI on your keyboard for customize user interface. And we can go ahead and select that, which will bring up this window here. So let's go through the window real quick. In the top left, these are our customization files, and you can see here these are the same workspaces that we saw. So each workspace carries a different set of tools, right? So the Civil 3D default is going to have slightly different tools from the drafting and annotation, which will have completely different tools from 3D modeling and planning and analysis. So let's say you do a little bit of everything. You can create a workspace that has a little bit of everything, or you can create a tab that has a little bit of everything, right? On the bottom here, you have your command list. Okay, these are all the commands that are within AutoCAD and how to call them. And if you look here, you'll see the star button, and this is so you can create your own command, right? And if you want a video on that, let me know and I will teach you, and I will come and make a video on how to make your own custom command. Then over here is going to be the properties side of your window. So when you click on something to the left, it will show you its properties over here to the right. In order for us to begin making our own custom ribbon, the first thing we need to do is, I would say, is make a duplicate. Now, you can come in here, you can just make a new one, but I personally would say, make a duplicate. Make a duplicate of any one of these workspaces, so that way, a lot of it is already kind of pre-built, right? So for example, if your default is Civil 3D, I would go ahead and make a copy of Civil 3D. So you would hit here and you would select duplicate, and you're going to see that you get a new workspace that says copy of Civil 3D 1. So we can go ahead and we could rename that. So let's go ahead and let's rename it, company workspace, right? Because we're doing this for our company or for ourselves, even our own personal workspaces, but let's just name it for right now company workspace. Oh, and I spelled company wrong. Let me fix that. All right, so now we have our workspace, right? We've created our workspace, our company workspace here. And what we can see is, if you look to the right, you can see that it is already named. Now, if you expand these here, you can kind of see the menus and the palettes and the tabs that are already going to be active within this workspace. And because this is a copy of the Civil 3D default, it's going to have the same tools as the one in Civil 3D, right? So let's go ahead and now get to customizing ours. Okay, so we went ahead and we copied our workspace. So Next, what we want to do is let's go down to ribbon, let's go to tabs, and let's make a copy of a tab, right, that we would want. So as you can see here, if you're under the Civil 3D workspace, then you have Civil 3D. You have home, insert, annotate, modify, the same tabs that we were all used to seeing. So what we want to do is we want to either make a brand new one, or we want to make a copy of one of these. So let's go ahead and let's make a copy of Civil 3D home. So we can right click on it, select duplicate, and then we can go ahead and we can rename this one. So we can say this is my company tab. Right now, what I do want you to pay attention to is that even though we renamed it here company tab, if we look over to our right where it says display text, it is still saying copy of home. So if we were to hit apply and OK, this tab will appear in the ribbon, but it will be named copy of home and not have our own custom name. So what we're going to do is we're going to rename it over here, and we're going to say company tab, just like that. Okay. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of modify this workspace to make it for us, right? So for example, you can see here that under this company tab panel, what we have here is we have our home palette, right? This palette right here, which has our tool space, our survey button. It has our calculator. It has, a bunch of the same home tab tools. The first panel that we see has the same tools that we're used to seeing, right? And then you have your next panel, which is going to be your Explore panel, Optimize, Create Ground Data, or Create and Design panel, so on and so forth, that we can continue to go down. So what we can do here, now that we have all of these, what we can do now is we can go ahead and we can come in here and we can add more tabs or more panels that we use. We can add them in here. Right? So for example, if there is a command or something that we like to use that is located somewhere else. So what's a good one? I would say let's go to, let's use annotate. Let's say text. I like text. So what we can do is we can go ahead and we can grab it and we can move it and drop it in here. And now what you're going to see is that if you go to company tab, now you'll have your text box right here that you can use. If your company has list routines, you can upload those list routines by doing upload and bring them into your AutoCAD, and you'll see that they will be in the list here, and you can also grab those as well and drop them up here into your company tab. So what we can do now is let's go ahead and try to add something unique, right, to our company tab. So what I want to do now is I want to go down here. Let me see if I have any list routines that I can add or any customization files. So here we have this one. App manager, our featured apps, things like that. Legacy ones, no, I don't have any list routines in here. So you know what, let's just make our own. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to hit this little star button right here. I'm going to create my command. And so one of the things that we tend to suffer through, especially as CAD managers and CAD designers, when we're dealing especially with new hires and new engineers right out of school, or people that are just not really adept at, I wouldn't even say not really adept at CAD, but or not as technical with CAD as we are, is we deal with a lot of slowing down of files, right? Where files tend to get bogged down and get heavy. And so one thing that I always do is I'm used to running a set of commands. So purge, audit, overkill, to kind of clean those files. So now typically what I would do is I would run audit first, Do you want to fix any errors detected? Yes, hit enter and let it run. And then I would sit here and run purge and select what I want it to clean up, and then hit enter. It'll ask me to verify names. I would say no, and then it'll go ahead and it'll do that, and then I would run another command like overkill, right? A lot of command inputs, but what if I could string them all together to make one button that cleans everything, right? So let's do that. So here under the name, I'm going to type in super clean. Okay. And so I'm going to delete this. And so now I have the name super clean. I can put in a description. So we're going to say use this when the file gets really slow. Right now, if extended help file is for if I was to have a Word document, right, and like a PDF or Word document that I created to really in detail go and explain how this command works, then I can go ahead and I can link that here, right? So that way when you press the help button, the F1 help button, that document will come up for you to read, right? Here you have your command display name. So here I can just say, oh, you know, I can either say, make a copy of it and say super clean, or what I can do is I can kind of shorthand it here and say SC or whatever, but we're just gonna leave it as super clean. It's fine for now. Then here what you have is your macro, okay? So here I call it, I know it's you know, it's like an exponent symbol or whatever, but I call it caret. So I say caret C, caret C. So what this does is this escapes any previous commands, right? So that you can start your new command fresh. All right, so I want to run a new command. So the first command I want to run is audit. And so I'll say audit, right? And so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a semicolon, okay? Whoops, there you go. I'm going to add a semicolon. What a semicolon does is semicolon is sort of like you hitting enter, right? So it's pretty much audit, enter. So what is the first prompt that you get when you enter audit? Typically it's, do you want to fix any errors detected, right? So the answer to that typically is yes. So we'll enter Y here, and then we'll do another semicolon for enter, okay? So if I was to leave this just like this and run this command, and all it would do is just complete the audit, it would never even prompt us to say yes or no, right? It would just run through, okay? So now that I have hit enter and it's probably going to run this command, what I can do now is I don't have to stop there. I can add another command to it, so I can string commands together. So here what I could do is I could add dash purge, because typically that's what I would run next, right? I would run dash purge. And let's see. Oh, for this one, what do we want to purge? Let's say reg apps. That's always a good one, right? So we'll say reg apps, then we'll hit enter. Then I believe the first question that it asks you is, do you want to verify the names that are going to be deleted? We can say no and enter. So if I was to stop here, then it would run both of these commands all at once, right? So it would run through this, and it would run through both of these commands at the click of a button and be done in seconds, right? Without me having to sit here and type audit, yes, audit, enter, yes, enter, dash purge, reg apps, enter, no, right? So it just runs it all at once. And so what we can do is we can make it distinguishable. So right, if we had an image, we could put an image in, we could attach the image here under small image, large image. But instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, for now, just use one of these symbols that are up here and maybe modify them a little bit. So let's go and let's use, what's a good one? Yeah, let's use this check mark. And so here we have the check mark, but what I'm going to do is to make it a little bit different, I'm going to make the background red. So what you can do here is, as you can see, I can go ahead and I can do this and make all these dark colored pixels red. All right, something like that. I recommend you actually just, you know, create your own image instead of using one of these, because this is kind of, you know, it is kind of annoying. I don't like using these, so I just typically either Google an image that I like to use, or choose a company image, or just like make my own and then use that. But for now, we're just gonna use this one. And there you go. All right, so we'll say that that's it. We'll say save, and we'll say that this is our super clean. And we'll hit OK, and we will close it. And so now that will be our symbol, right? Oh, is that fine? All right, so now we have our symbol. And here, if you come down here now to your command list and we type in super, you can see right here that you have super clean. Isn't that neat, right? All right, so cool. So now we have super clean, okay? So now what we can do is I can go ahead and I can grab this command. I can go ahead and I can add it up here to one of these tabs. 1 second. Alrighty, I have to expand it, sorry. Let's expand the panels. And so we'll go down to panels here and we'll expand them, and we will add it to one of our tabs or one of our panels, right? And let's see if we can find ours. Sorry. Let's see if we can find our panel. Where's our panel at? We're looking for the one that says company. Dun, 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 dun. 3D. That is not it. That is not it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Right. All right. And so now what we need to do is we need to add this. Oh crap! In here. All right. So let's go ahead and add it. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab super clean. We are going to move it up, and you'll start to notice that you're starting to see that this says, for example, row 1. Where do you want to put it? So if I wanted to put it right here, I can. Right, and so now you can see that super clean is there in the home palette. Okay, so here we have our tabs, and if we go to home palette now, what you can see under company tab, if we look at home palette, you'll see that our little button that says that is our red background with a green check. Now, I personally would say that I want to see the name, right? And so for that, I'll go back to our panel section. I will go over to where it says row 1, find super clean, and if I look to the right, I can go ahead and I can say, how do I want my button to look? So I want, right now it's set to small without text. I can say small with text, and there you have now the check with super clean. Okay, and now we can hit apply. And we can hit OK. All right. So now what we can do is we can go here. Oh, wait. You know what? Sorry. I forgot to do something. Silly me. If we have to go back to our company workspace, by the way. And what we are going to do is we are going to customize the workspace. Okay. So if you look here, you'll see that we have company workspace, we have our access ribbon, our tabs, and what we can do is we need to activate our company tab. So here we're going to put a check mark under company tab. We're just going to push it over here to the right and give us access to all of the tabs and panels that are available. What we also can do is we can turn off panels and tabs that we don't use, right? things that we're not often that we don't often use, commands that we don't often use, tabs that we almost never go to, right? So for example, I don't ever go to the rail tab, so I can turn rail off so that it doesn't show in our workspace, right? I can go into any one of these and modify them and turn things off. Okay, and so now that that is done, I can say done. I can hit apply, and I can hit now OK. And so now if I go here, I see now that I have my company workspace. I can click on company workspace, and you'll notice that here is company tab. Okay, here's our company tab, and here is super clean. Now if I was to hit super clean, watch my command line. Ta-da! And there it goes. So what did it do? It ran through the audit. Yes. Fixed our errors. Found 4 errors, fixed 4 errors, which is wild because I didn't know. This is like an empty drawing. I don't know how it had errors. But anyway, and then it started the command -purge. And then I said regapps. And I think I missed a command here, and that's why that didn't work. So let's see how this, let's see which prompt I missed. So here you select regapps, enter names to be purged. It's not supposed to be no. You're supposed to leave it as a asterisk or a star, and then hit enter, and then verify each name to be purged. And here I would say no. Okay, so let's fix that really quick. That's actually a great little lesson right there, right? Let's go ahead and fix that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here, we're gonna go to our super clean, and we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna fix our macro. So here we had our audit, semicolon Y, semicolon. We know that the first portion worked. Next, it was -purge, right? And then we chose regapps. But after this, what it was an asterisk, right? And then enter. And then it was verify name to be purged, no, semicolon. And if you want to see a kind of a bigger image, you can hit these 3 dots at the right, and you can get what's called your long string editor that you can use to kind of see a little bit better. But this should be what it looks like. Audit, semicolon Y, semicolon -purge. And this here should not be a colon, but a semicolon. Oops. And then regapps, and then semicolon, asterisk, semicolon, no, semicolon. And so we'll hit OK. We'll hit apply. We'll hit OK. And so now, if we run it, it should run even with the purge. So let's see. And there you go. So see, it came through and it purged all of the registered applications that are in here. Right? So it ran through another audit and then went right into the purge command. And so this is how we can kind of string commands together, right? And as you can see, there you have it. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our customization file. So we're going to hit this drop down, we're going to go to customize. And what we want to do is we want to go to company workspace. We want to click on that. We want to right click and we want to select set default, right? So what this means is that every time you open your AutoCAD, it will open in this workspace here that says company workspace. Okay. All right. So what we did earlier was we duplicated a already created tab and with an already created ribbon, and we just made it, or panel, and we just made adjustments to it. But what if you want one that is completely your own, right? With your own custom commands, your own custom list routines, or your own custom company objects, right? Or company, you know, documents or whatever it is. Well, how do you do that? So here, now that we have this company workspace default, right? We know that we went to ribbon, we went to tabs, and we had created one that says our company tab. So what we want is we want to create our own panel. So these are panels. So what we want to create is we want to create our own panel, okay? So this is our palettes panel, our explore panel, optimize, ground data, create design, right? We want to kind of create our own. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to panels. We're going to click on panels, and we are going to create a new panel, right? So let's go down, let's find panels, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a new panel. So let's create a new panel, and this panel, we're going to name it, let's say we want it to be our list routines. Let's say company Lisp routines. Right, so that's going to be the name of our panel. So we have company Lisp routines, and as you can see underneath, we have things like panel dialog box launcher, the row, and what we have are slide outs. Okay, what we can do now is we can grab commands and we can add them in here. So what we're going to do here is let's find our super clean. We have our super clean right here. We're going to grab it and we are going to add it here. So let's put it in row 1. And so now if you click on this one, what you'll see is it's just this one singular button, right? What we can do is let's go to it, super clean. Let's make it, let's go large with text this time, right? Large with text, I think that's nice. All right, and now we have our panel, okay? So now what we can do with this panel is we can grab this panel and move it on up. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this panel to our workspace or activate it. But I'm just going to move it up to kind of make it easier for us to see. So let's go, let's keep going, and we should be approaching the top. And as you can see, we have our company tab, and we are going to add it right there. And now we have our company list routines in our company tab. Okay. And so that is our unique individual panel. So now, for example, if we did not want any of these, we can go ahead and remove them because we already know that these live in our regular Civil 3D Home panel. So let's just remove them from this one. I thought it would let me do all of them at once, but it did not. So we'll just keep removing, remove, and we'll remove that one, and 2 more, remove and remove. Right, now we have our very own unique panel, company list routines. So as we add more, create more list routines, or we accumulate more list routines, we can grab those list routines and now add them into here, our company list routine panel, so that they live in one central location, right? And if we have one panel, we can say one panel is our list routines. We can say one panel is our, I don't know, company resources or company websites, right? Then we can do that as well, into which we can create a button that when we hit it, it will take us to our company site or a company resource, things of that nature. And so now that we have that done, what we want to make sure that we do is that we go over here to company workspace default, customize the workspace one more time. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that our new company tab is selected and that it has all of our palettes and things that we need. So we Civil 3D Home, we have our Civil 3D Home, we see we have here our company tab, and you see that it did not update, right? And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that it does update. Okay, and so what we're going to do here is we are going to go over, we're going to find our company. I think I did see it. Did I see it already? Here, and deselect it, and we're going to add it back. And as you can see, it now switched to only have company list routines. Okay, so now we're going to hit apply, and we're going to hit OK. Give our screen a second to reload. And if you go to our company tab, this is the only thing that is in there. And we can add more panels, we can add more things, we can add drop downs here if it gets heavy and our tab or our panel has a lot of stuff, we can add drop downs. There's just so many options that you can do once you have created this. And then we can also move it and put it kind of where we want. So if you want it to be the first tab, then there we go. Now it is our first tab, then home, insert, annotate, so on and so forth. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you can, please comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, so that I can continue to create useful content. With that being said, I hope everybody has a great day and have fun drafting.